Welcome back into Pattrn, your home for the latest news in climate change and sustainability. I'm Steph Abrams.
And I'm George Steele. We got today's hot topics, and oh, are they good? William Shatner, maybe best known for his role as Captain Kirk, right?
Yes.
But he, defended the galaxy then, but what's he doing now?
Well, now he's stepping into a new role defending the Earth, and we promise you will not forget this message.
For almost a century, I've been a kind, decent Canadian. It's the Canadian way. But when I see what open net salmon farming is doing to the environment and wildlife, I just can't be Canadian about it any longer. So, repeat after me. F off! Open net pen salmon farms!
Well,
he just keeps going.
The video was released.
And going.
Yes, after the Canadian government pushed back the date for phasing out open net farms by 4 years. The original deadline was next summer.
Okay, so they're supposed to get rid of it, and then now they're postponing it for another 5 years, so they're mad.
Yeah.
Why are they mad? Well, I was thinking, so it was in 2017, they do this in America too, in Puget Sound. They've got these open net salmon farms, and sometimes they break. And then we had a huge break where all these Atlantic salmon were getting released in Puget Sound, where you have Pacific salmon, and it was a breed that was invasive and it was going to cause all sorts of problems. So then they were rushing, trying to catch these fish that weren't supposed to be there in the first place, and it was causing so many environmental problems, some of which he's probably
That's another one
about.
I didn't even think about. Yeah.
Yes, and my question is like, why are you raising Atlantic salmon on the Pacific? Why wouldn't you just do Pacific salmon and just keep the breed the same? And I get it, salmon popularity has been so big, it's good for you, omega-3s and all this stuff, and it tastes delicious. But these open net farms are causing problems.
By the way, can we see how good Shatner looks at 93 years old?
Yeah, that's a good point.
He looks phenomenal. Go on with your bad self, Shatner. All right, hot topic number 2. And you know those plastic bags that are filled with air that come in your deliveries?
Oh, yeah.
A shipping giant is actually doing away with them. Amazon is ditching the plastic air pillows and replacing them with recycled paper, which is more environmentally friendly.
Good.
Amazon says they use nearly 15 billion plastic air pillows every year. The plastic air pillows will be replaced with recycled paper, which works better, they say, at protecting items during shipping. The company says it's already replaced 95% of those plastic pillows in North America.
Thank you.
And they should be completely phased out by the end of the year.
That's
Listen,
great.
Anything's better than those styrofoam peanuts.
Oh, good call.
That when you'd open and
they go everywhere, and then the static electricity gets them, so then they
and they stick to everything. Do you know, I used to actually bring them back. There was a store that I would send my deliveries through,
the peanuts
and
back?
I would bring my peanuts back, and he would
take them?
He would take them,
oh, good.
And he would add them to the pile. But I do miss the little bubble ones that you
could pop. My kids love those.
Who doesn't love those?
Jumping on them.
As a kid, I remember laying down a strip and with my bike going over them. And as an adult, they're fun to twist and pop and the whole thing.
But if we're going to order something this big, can we at least get rid of the box that's this big?
Yeah, they're starting to do that too, I think, pare down on their boxes.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, every year in the U.S., we toss out more than 34 billion pounds of clothes and used textiles. That's heavier than the Eiffel Tower. But now a French architect has a new use for discarded fabric. Her company is recycling it into building materials.
What?
And these building materials can be used to build walls or furniture. It all looks pretty cool, which enhances the idea. Part of their plan here is to make sure people would want to use them, so you got to make it look good, right? The whole process involves crushing the textiles into fibers and tiny pieces. That's mixed with a binding that is then molded into blocks itself with glue, and then ultimately the stuff they use is eco-friendly, and then you could use it however you want.
It looks like artwork too.
Yeah, it does look like artwork.
See?
And I was thinking, like, right now we have insulation. You could use it as a type of insulation in between your walls. You're trying to soundproof something.
It reminded me of, remember that the people who are taking old bottles, like soda bottles, and stuffing it with material, making bricks out of them as well.
Out of them.
So it would just be super cool to have a whole house built out of all these different things, like the soda bottles that are, stuffed with things, and this material. And
having furniture, they make furniture out of this.
Bamboo, I just think it would be a really cool thing. Hopefully, I'm hoping in my lifetime that type of building becomes standard.
Right. Because they have those buildings now. I know, like, Taos,
I know, but they're
Mexico's
few and far
known
in
for that,
between. I don't know.
they're not,
I want rapid fire like that.
Right, the everyday norm. Well, they say that one man's trash is another man's treasure. An artist went viral for his creations using wood pulled from dumpsters.
Yes, Ike Winter is joining us now with his really cool creations. Ike, thanks for joining us. We got to know how you got started doing this.
I appreciate you guys. It's quite an interesting journey. Honestly, I just picked up a pallet on the side of the road one day and took it home, cut it up, and made a coffee table out of it. And then now, 7 years later, it's developed into this style of wall art that I just kind of dove headfirst into and started exploring with pretty heavily.
I mean, have you been interested in woodworking since like wood shop when you were a kid? Like, how'd you know you were interested in messing with wood?
I grew up the son of like a home remodeler, so like building things and being around wood and cutting stuff with a miter saw was kind of my upbringing. But as far as an art background or anything like that, it randomly came up in my 20s, honestly.
That's cool.
And you get so much color out of the different woods and the way you use them, but the different shades of wood. You don't paint, you don't stain any of this stuff?
Yeah, I've never stained or painted or even bought a piece of wood, and I've been able to make a career out of it. It's all just from stuff that I find on the side of the road and digging through dumpsters.
No, I love it. It's great. And obviously, you know, you went viral. We're kind of looking at some of the videos here, I believe from your Instagram account, for that giant Crayola box, which seemed super tough to go through and make that. Tell us about that experience. How did you come up with the idea?
How long does it take?
And how long did that take? Yeah.
This was my longest project. It was 205 hours. It is a physical 3D box, and you can actually pull the crayons out of it, and there's like a barcode on the back, and it's to scale. It's 8 times the size of a crayon box. Obviously, I dive a lot into nostalgic pieces, and it just kind of came up one day. I was looking around the shop, and I was like, why have I never done a crayon piece? And instead of doing a flat piece, I was like, let's dive into this 3D installation world. So
I love that you can also hang it. You went in on this thing. Are you selling these pieces of art? Do you have a studio, or are they just for display?
I have a private studio that I work out of, and then I do sell pieces. And now that I'm getting into bigger and longer one-off pieces, and obviously investing more time into it, it's just become more of a niche. But I do sell all my work that comes up.
All right, so we got to give him some ideas. I see the Legos he's got there. You got to go markers if you go crayons. What about like an old Nintendo console controller? I think that'd be cool. What about you? Did you have any toys growing up that you'd want him to do?
A sit and spin, like an actual sit and spin that works, maybe.
I did a couple logos for Nintendo or like video game brands. I definitely do have. I do everything nostalgic that like I grew up with, and that's important to me. So that I can really become like personally tied with the project, spending so many hours on it. I don't want to stay as focused and like excited on it as possible. I will definitely dive more into the video game world of things.
We only about 30 seconds left. Do you use only wood, or do you use any other trash that you find?
Yeah, just wood right now. I'm not opposed to exploring it, but that's mainly always been my medium for it.
They say the wood speaks to you. Does it speak to you?
It's very interesting taking something that got beat up over its life cycle of like a piece of furniture, and now explaining or trying to think of like how it got beat up and incorporate it within art and all the flaws and imperfections. But that's kind of what makes it beautiful now. So
you're using that other side of your brain, which is so cool. Thank you so much, Ike Winter. Very talented. We appreciate what you're doing, keeping all that trash out of the landfill. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
What a cool guy, and what cool projects he's working on.
I thought the crayon box was like this big. The thing was giant.
It's massive.
And the Lego pieces?
Yeah, they were really cool. It'd be cool to see what he does next. And I love that it's all kind of retro, because he's obviously about the same age-ish.
Yeah.
That, you know.
Make like an old record player with like a little circular piece of wood
that's
spinning
on it.
That would be
really cool.
You know,
Jordan has so many ideas for Ike. I think he's about to become his partner.